There's nothing more embarrassing than scoring an own goal. Putting the ball in your own net can bring a grown man to tears and make you want the ground to just swallow you up, as you begin to deal with the shame of seeing your name on the score sheet with the initial OG next to it. But what's worse than scoring one own goal? Scoring multiple. Let's take a look at who has scored the most own goals in Premier League history. A special mention for the goalkeepers, because they're not exempt from scoring own goals, despite their primary job being to keep the ball out of the net. Both Rob Green and Scott Carson have scored 3 own goals in the Premier League, the most of any goalkeeper. But let's move on to the top 15 own goal scorers in Premier League history. We've got 6 players tied on 5 own goals, beginning with Scott DANN. The Crystal Palace centre-half had a rough time at the weekend against Huddersfield Town, but at least he didn't put the ball through his own net like Joel Ward did. However, DANN does have 5 OGs to his name, but he's yet to do it for Crystal Palace, scoring 3 for Blackburn and 2 for Birmingham. Speaking of Blackburn, Colin HENDRY also ended his career with 5 Premier League own goals. They probably won't irk him too much considering he won the Premier League with Rovers back in 1995, in a season in which he scored at the right end 4 times. But during his time in the top flight, Scottish centre-half HENDRY scored 3 own goals for Blackburn, then 1 for Coventry and 1 for Bolton Wanderers. Another Premier League winner with Blackburn who has 5 own goals to his name is HENNING BERG. 3 for Blackburn and 2 for Manchester United, the Swedish defender is now in management, where hopefully he's not passing on his own goal wisdom to his players. Although he was recently sacked by Hungarian side Videoton, so maybe he is. Also with 5 own goals it's Ryan Shawcross, but finally we've got a one-club man. Because all of the England international's own goals, yes he's still an England international even if Zlatan Ibrahimovic did ruin his 3 Lions career, came while playing for Stoke. Will the big centre-half add to his tally this season? Mark Hughes will be praying he doesn't. It's hard enough keeping goals out enough as it is without your own players chipping in. Next up in the 5 OG club, which isn't that exclusive, is Michael DUBERRY. Big Dubes put through his own net 3 times at Chelsea, then once each at both Leeds and Reading. Now at 41 years old, DUBERRY is retired from the game, putting an end to his goal scoring exploits, unless he joins a pub team. And finally with 5, it's John O'Shea. A Premier League player for more than 15 years, 5 own goals in 445 appearances isn't the worst record. At least he still has a positive goal difference, having scored a huge 13 goals in the right net. He scored 3 own goals at Man United and 2 for Sunderland, but at least he can't add to the Premier League tally now the Black Cats are in the Championship. Next up we've got Phil Jagielka. Moving up the own goal scoring ladder, Phil Jagielka is one of 5 players who have scored 6 Premier League own goals, doing so 5 times for Everton and once back when he was a Blade with Sheffield United. He's joined on 6 goals by West Brom defender Gareth McAULEY. The 37-year-old Northern Irishman has 6 OGs for the Baggies, but that won't stop us from picking him in fantasy football every season. The man scored 6 goals in the right net last season, that's more than Wayne Rooney managed. Also on 6 it's Rio Ferdinand, whose failures in front of his own net are spread evenly, with 2 own goals each at Leeds, Man United and West Ham. And I'm sure he could have managed 2 more at QPR if they hadn't gone down with such a whimper when he arrived. Like John O'Shea, Wes Brown played in the Premier League for both Manchester United and Sunderland, but managed to beat his 5 own goals by bagging that elusive 6th. 3 for Man United and 3 for Sunderland, Wes Brown can open up a new account of own goals, having just joined Indian Super League side Kerala Blasters, a move that I can't wait to hear about on the Real Housewives of Cheshire. Next up with 6 own goals it's Frank Sinclair, who for me is the absolute king of putting the ball into his own net. He may not have the most, but he's certainly got the best. We saw a great own goal by Inter Milan in pre-season, which just brought back memories of Frank Sinclair's stunning strike into his own net for Leicester, pinging it from 40 yards past a desperate Ian Walker and into the bottom corner. With 3 own goals for Leicester and 3 for Chelsea, Frank, you're the real hero here. Moving up the ladder to 7 own goals, it's Zat Knight. A man who ended his career with more Premier League own goals than England caps, which in itself shouldn't be surprising because it remains a mystery how Zat Knight bagged himself 2 England caps. But the defender put through his own net 5 times for Fulham, then another 2 for Bolton, in a salute to his international career. Next on 7 own goals it's Jamie Carragher. A one-club man in every sense of the word, except that time he wore an Everton shirt on Sky Sports News last season, Carragher made more than 500 Premier League appearances for the Reds, scoring 3 times in the right net and a massive 7 in the wrong one. His defensive capabilities meant he could get away with the odd own goal, and nowadays he sits on Sky Sports entertaining the nation with his wicked funny banter as he tries to rip apart whoever he sat alongside. Don't say it's not value for money. Also with 7 own goals it's another Liverpool alumni, Martin SKRTEL. Matching his former centre-back partner Jamie Carragher, the only thing that separates their own goal scoring is the amount of games in which it was done. Carragher averaged an own goal once every 72.6 games, whereas SKRTEL averaged an own goal once every 34.6 games. So who's the real Liverpool hero? And of course, the highest own goal scorer in Premier League history is Richard Dunne. You all knew it. He's the only man to hit double figures in own goal Premier League history. When you think about the great Premier League goal scorers, you think of Shearer, Henry, Fowler, Cole, Aguero, but the real MVP is Richard Dunne. The Irish centre-half, who is now retired from the game, scored 10 own goals during his Premier League career, 6 for Man City, 3 for Aston Villa and 1 for QPR, with his final own goal coming in a 3-2 defeat to Liverpool. Let's all raise a glass to Richard Dunne, the Premier League's own goal king. Will anyone dare take his record? So those are the top own goal scorers in Premier League history. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.